I don't like this. I need to do this, but I'm not focused. And then you're getting in your head. Just be like, is this emotion, is this thought of not achieving, of worrying about uncertain, is this serving me? Yes or no?
I am so happy today because I have Lydia back with us. Lydia, it's such a pleasure. It's so refreshing to see you. We were just chatting. I was like, I haven't seen you like on camera in like 2 years.
No, it really started, me growing up, and there's little Lydia. And then anyway, so skip forward to my adulthood. I had a great career, as you already know, in the corporate world. Just like most of us, you finish your school, you want to get a great job and do well in life, right? So everything was wonderful. And, I've always been positive, happy, motivated, driven. And, I've grown in that corporation well ahead. I've gotten great roles and loved my teams and everyone I worked with. And then one day, as I say, life decides to shake things up for us and to test us. And then that's where I feel we really discover our limitless potential, is during the tough times, because I don't feel that I've grown from any of my times where everything was comfortable and cozy. And during my success, it was mainly through my growing pains and tough times that I've learned my lessons, elevated more personally, professionally, whatever it may be, right?
But it just feels so good to have you back, and I can't wait to dive into what you've been up to. But first off, thank you for being back.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to see your beautiful face, new mother to be. I understand
Yes.
that world. So excited to catch up. Definitely energy is way different than when we're on video than just catching up on social media. So thanks for having me. Yeah, let's dive in.
Of
Whatever you
course.
need. Right here.
Yes, of course. And it's so crazy because we were chatting prior to filming, and last time I interviewed you, you had told me you were pregnant, and now I'm pregnant, and it's just crazy how much can happen in 2 years. So I want to know, what have you been up to these last 2 years?
I'm like, where
I
do
love
I
the
start?
question.
Okay. Well, obviously, a lot of things shifted personally and professionally. So, one, I moved provinces. I met my husband. Like, so many significant changes happened that I'm like, wow, self-discipline and resilience is truly key in life, right? Because when you're thrown, like, it's all great things. However, they are significant changes, right? So I'm from Canada. I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia since 1997, so like over 20 years, right? And then I moved to Ontario, so Toronto. That's where I met my husband, right? So that shifted personally. And then I got married. I had my baby, so I got pregnant, had my baby. And a lot of things shifted. So as you know, when we start talking in 2020, during COVID times, when we jumped into the entrepreneurial world, I was skyrocketing, got published as an author, started running my Limitless with Lydia business. And then obviously, I'm fast forwarding a bit now, right? When you are pregnant and when you're a mother, things shift because my family, my well-being actually is number one. So mental, physical well-being is key. And as you know, when you're an entrepreneur, high achieving entrepreneur, right? There are so many things to do. You're wearing all the hats. And on top of that, our mindset is different. We're unstoppable. We're driven women who want more.
Yes.
So when you're pregnant, you're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do with my business? I mean, you can have a team and all of that, but you're still the one, you're like, I need this and this, and this needs to get done this way. A little bit of control freak. It's like, let it go. So that's where everything kind of shifted for me. And really, when I was in month 4, I was wrapping up my one-on-one calls because at that time, I mainly ran my one-on-one container, the 90-day program, and I only had started my group coaching program. So I didn't have group coaching things and systems in place yet. So, I was in my head like, hey, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, how do I shift? Because I don't want to put everything on hold. But then again, priority is my health and my child, right? So I actually did decide to put a pause on it. And I was like, listen, I obviously served all my clients. I finished all my agreements and contracts, right? And when that was finished, so that was in month 4.5, 5 months pregnant now. But I was in my head thinking like, hey, how do I do this now? What do I do next?
Right.
And thankfully, I just always know that, self-love is key. priority of my child, that's number one, right? Business is secondary. I mean, I love my clients, I love my business, but if I'm not well, how can I serve you, right?
Exactly.
So I decided, I continued my mentorship. I continued my podcast, reading books, all of the stuff I do regularly, my daily routines, which is really powerful because hormones get to work when you're pregnant,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
then you're way more emotional and you're just way too sensitive than you usually are. And it's just your hormones, and you can't really do a lot of mindset things and exercise because they're just taking control over you. And I can see you.
I can
So,
relate.
you just let it be. You cry it out, you get emotional. I journaled, right? Like I brain dumped and all of that. That helps. But it is what it is, right? So I paused, and then I gave birth to my little genius son. Loved him so much. Luca, October 29th, so end of October 2022, right? And what ended up happening, obviously, as I was new to the motherhood, everything adjusting, adapting, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into business. That was in May. And I actually decided, because of fear, because as you know, entrepreneurship, you got to get back into the waters, right? Like I put a pause, a timeout. So obviously clients are not just going to be coming left, right, and center just yet, right?
Right.
So out of fear and security, right? Because both my husband and I, we own our businesses. So it's like, there's no that safety, let's put it that way. So I actually decided to get a job for one of the women that's like a business coach. So I did that for a while and I was happy. It was a great opportunity. Loved everyone I worked with. I did mindset and sales. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. However, inside, again, just like how I talked about 2018 before with the layoff and the divorce, okay,
Yeah.
it was that moment again of, oh my goodness, I am holding back from my greatness. I am holding back because of what if this, and this. And inside, you know me, Caroline, you know me. So my limitless movement, it's fire, it's global, it's unstoppable.
Yes.
It's like I am on a mission for that, and like get out of my way.
No
Like,
holding back.
this tiger is coming through, right? So basically, what ended up happening is we parted ways. It was beautiful, it was amazing, and I jumped right back. Actually, I went to Spain for vacation. You got to pause, right? So we went for a mini vacation. That was a nice reset of everything because my brain was just like full of ideas, things, what I should do, what I should not do, what if this, what if that, and the baby and the family and me, and how am I going to balance it out, and all of that.
Right.
And then again, mentorship is key. I'm telling you, everyone that's listening, always look at individuals that you look up to that have something that you want. So I was looking for different ways that I can still work and serve the women I work with at that top elite level without compromising my freedom, without compromising spending time with my child, right? And what do you need? You need systems. And I was kind of thinking about, I'm like, oh my God, it's what I was talking about before, finding that rhythm in your life, because we are all different and unique. That's a fact. However, when certain situations arise and happen in life, we get in our head. This noise is the loudest, our mindset. And I talk about it. It's like you can have all the system strategies, whatever. If you don't resolve this and get clear and focused and do the needle moving activities, you're not going to achieve your income goals. You're not going to attract your dream clients, right? So I met a phenomenal, actually 2 mentors, and I started working with them, and I realized, oh my goodness, I don't have to just do one-on-one. This is on my terms. And when you actually start owning your power with certainty, so you're no longer in your head, but you're in reality check mode, right? I call it reality check mode. You just kind of have that conversation with yourself, like, hey, this is what I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do I get there? Okay. And then stay focused. So if I'm working with 1 or 2 mentors, I'm not looking at 5 other mentors. I'm not scrolling on social media, comparing myself to other successful women, because hello, the grass is greener where you water it.
Yes.
So it's like, it's really, really important. And I see so many women that are brilliant distracting themselves so much. It's like, right? And I understand, I've been there, I get it. But it's like at some point you got to catch yourself. So if you really truly want to achieve that income, if you really want to live on your terms, if you really want those dream clients and have that life you've always dreamed of, you have to create it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Yes.
So back to the rhythm in your life. So then I realized, I'm like, hey, okay, some things were definitely uncomfortable, but hey, that's part of growth and evolving, right? So I was like, let me try it out. And now I work on my own terms. So one-on-one is limited space, right? Like I don't have to have it always available. So that way I pour into you. It's very customized, personal level, high proximity to me, but it's not always available. And then I have like a done for you program, my signature program, the ultimate path to killer confidence, that before my pregnancy I used to do
Yeah.
live, right? And yeah, so it's my most popular program. So that went like as a done for you program now, right? And then I have other things in group coaching programs on my own terms, and I'm still serving the women and they still get amazing results. So that being said, how do you adjust and adapt? A lot has happened. So I realized that time flies by quickly. Okay. So there is no point to waste your time thinking about the what if, how, because you're actually wasting time because you're spending time thinking and not doing,
Yes.
right? And when you actually take action and do, you accelerate your results because you're either going to learn, make mistakes, and adjust, adapt along the way, or you're going to achieve them, right? But when you're just thinking and thinking, you're actually self-sabotaging way more. And you're actually procrastinating and pulling yourself and holding your genius back so much. And it's not serving you in any way, right?
Yeah.
So today, it's really where am I at is I've learned time flies. Set your goals, get to it. And if you don't know how, tap into the people that know how. Doesn't necessarily mean mentors and coaches. You can do it through podcasts, you can do it through books. I mean, knowledge is everywhere, right? But I've learned from me personally, starting with like Tim Grover, Sherry, Elena Cardone, a bunch of individuals. It's like I learn, I get to my results faster when I work with mentors, right?
Yes.
It's a personal choice, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what's really propelled me forward, and here we are. And yeah, I'm still known as the no BS, no fluff, limitless coach and mentor, serving high achieving women. Nothing changed there. But now it's just I've gotten that rhythm where now I'm leading with certainty. I don't have to like, oh, what if this, what if that? I'm not, I used to also scroll, hey, we're all human, right? I'm like, oh, look how's she doing now. How do I get there? But think about it, her and you, the only difference is mindset. She's doing while you're thinking. While you're scrolling and comparing, she is in action. She's achieving. She's maybe not, maybe she's failing, but she's learning and still moving where you're stagnant. You want to be stagnant?
Yeah. No, it's so true. I love that you said that because I think a big part of the focus piece, just staying focused on what your goals are, what you're trying to or focus on achieving. And it's funny because like I'm definitely one of those people that's like an overthinker before I like do something or like even starting this channel. It took me 2 years to even start it because I was like, well, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be this.
Yeah.
And my husband says it all the time. He's like, you're always like thinking and thinking. It's like, just do it, take action. Like you don't have to like wait. It's okay if you fail. And I think like being a recovering perfectionist, it can be challenging sometimes. It seeps in, but I love that you were like, you have to just focus on take the action. You're going to fall forward. You're going to continue to move forward. And I feel like I've definitely adapted to that aspect as well because it's never going to be perfect and you can understand that it's going to have to shift and adapt and be flexible. And I'm sure you've had to do that the last 2 years as well, like being pregnant and then having your son and then being able to say, okay, what are the priorities? Where can I focus my time and energy? Where it's going to maximize your life as well, and having that harmony between work and life and seeing, okay, I don't have to do just one-on-one. I can do group. I can maximize my time and still have an impact that you're having. And I think that's the piece that sometimes it can be a little overwhelming when you, I mean, it goes both ways if you have a job or if you're not entrepreneur, the security
Exactly.
and safety, even just like my husband and I talking about that, like bringing a baby into the world, you're like, oh, I want to make sure everything's okay and all the things. But I think it's trusting and the mindset and just continuing to move forward and not get stuck in that mindset. Because like what you were saying, even like scrolling through, you see all these people like, oh, they're really successful, or like, and you never know what happens behind closed doors, to be quite honest. And like it could look beautiful on the outside, but you have no idea on the inside. And it goes back to that mindset and being a high achieving woman yourself, but also all the high achieving women that you work with, realizing, okay, how can you still maximize that time? Because time's going to go whether we do it or not.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's like exactly what you alluded to. It's like, okay, well, you can continue to think about it, but while you're thinking about it, everyone else is taking action.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
And
that's an important part.
yeah, and I actually thought of one more thing, which is really
Yeah.
crucial because life is gonna keep moving forward, like you said.
Mhm.
So what I've really learned and tapped into, and the women that I work with, that's what's really shifted their results from like good to great, from great to freaking extraordinary, is really your resilience and your certainty in yourself. Because think about this, Caroline, right? Like a natural disaster can happen. None of us have, just like COVID. Let's
Yeah.
do a little throwback, right? None
Yeah.
of us have control over it. You don't know where you're at. And what was the difference between people who did well and just adjusted and adapted? They kept going. And the people who were worrying and got stuck and got consumed by fear, overthinking, and all of that. It's the same thing. So when you learn how to trust this yourself,
Yes.
everything starts with you, right? So trust with yourself and know that you have everything that you need within, and that the more you adjust and adapt, you become stronger. So you bounce back from those setbacks with much more wisdom, much more energy, right? And so many lessons along the way. And that's really what makes the difference between individuals that you see thriving. And you're like, how did they with this? People ask me, they're like, oh my God, how did you move? Because it was a big change. Like I moved my whole life over 20 to an unknown territory. Nothing was guaranteed. No friends, not success of my business, having a baby, and everything happened quickly. I'm so grateful for it all. It's everything I've ever dreamed of. But that resilience, my mindset, even my own mom, who knows me the best, we're best friends, was surprised when I was about to give birth. She was like crying and worried, and I was so calm. She's like, how are you calm? What the hell? Like, aren't you worried what's going to happen? I was. You don't think I had 1,000 thoughts racing? You never know. Anything can go sideways in a split second. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just being real. You know me. I keep it 100, right?
Yes.
But the thing is, the more I am in control of me, that's the only thing you have control over, yourself and my mind, the calmer my child is. It's in the womb. It's soaking up all my energy. So I listened to music. I was like, oh, in my own energy, because you have to do things. If you want to have a certain type of life, you have to create it. Nobody's going to give you anything on a platter. You go get it yourself. And then with that, you lead with your certainty, with your magnetism.
Yes.
And that's what attracts women to me, like high achieving women. Why? Because they can read through BS and they can know when someone's just fluffing, talking, or if it's real. And I'm also not for everyone. Some people think I'm too intense, I'm too much, I'm too real. That's okay. I am not for everyone, and I own it. But that's really important to know. You are unique in your own way, and have that certainty in you that no matter what happens, you're going to figure it out. You will find a way. You're creative, you're beautiful. Just health is number one. So take care of you, and you can handle anything, honestly. And I'm not just saying that. It's really important. That's why mindset is key in everything that you do. So
Absolutely. And I love that you said that. And I want to go back to that certainty piece, because I realize a lot of times, me personally, and just all the people I've spoken to, when you have that clear vision, just like what you're talking about with mentors, like having one or two mentors versus like 10, or like scrolling and trying to find more, there are more opportunities can come because you are focused on one or two things versus a million. And I think as women, we can multitask a little bit more. I went to a talk a few weeks ago about like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. And the lady, she had studied how our brains work versus male and female, and how it's just a little bit different. Like, of course, there's outlier factors and whatnot, but
absolutely, yeah.
but how we can multitask, but to a certain degree. And I think it's looking at, okay, well, what is the priority? And I agree, health is number one, because if you are not regulating your nervous system, because that's even something like I've been
Exactly.
super emotional and I'm like, okay, but I'm like impacting the little girl right now. So it's like looking at how can you really shift that and listen to music or do things that are going to amplify your health, like eating,
Yes.
sleeping,
Yeah.
exercising, listening to music, laughing, like doing the things that you enjoy and love. But
Yeah.
that's part of that certainty. Like when you have that clear goal, I know everything always opens up when I'm like, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm doing it. I don't know what's going to transpire. Like I have the framework, but things
Yeah.
are going to shift. Like you uprooted your whole life and changed everything, but it became successful because you
Yeah.
tried. It could have
Mhm.
gone differently, but you still
Exactly.
focused on what is the end goal. What am I focused on achieving? And doing that. And I think that's where a lot of women are attracted to working with you, because you are very no BS. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. If you don't, that's okay. I'm not for you. And I think that's like, we're not for everybody. Not everyone
Exactly.
loves me, and that's okay. I don't want everyone to love
Yeah.
me. But I think it's
Yeah.
looking at how can you really maneuver that and work it to your advantage and focus on health is number one. And then everything is secondary. And like what you said earlier too, it's your son is a priority and business is second, but you're still serving your clients, you're still doing what you need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shift. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other women or dads as well, parents in general, the switch goes off once, like, I mean, it's went off for me pretty quickly in my pregnancy. I'm like, okay, things need to change. I need to shift
Yeah.
things. My energy can't keep going to
Yeah.
things that aren't serving me, especially when the time is very limited. So I have about 3 months left. So it's like
Exactly.
it's time crunch. But even for you at like 4.5, 5 months, things started to shift and you had to really shift your mindset of, okay, what is the
Yeah.
priority? Kind of thinking ahead, but not overwhelming yourself either. And I think that's a
Mhm.
big part of it, like with the regulation of your nervous
Yeah.
system, because I don't think we talk about that enough. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I see it here and there, but I think it's important. What was that like for you, really being able to regulate your nervous system with all these things transpiring, all the changes that were happening internally and externally for you?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. You know what? All of us know about it. It's not like we're all brilliant women, we're intelligent, highly intelligent, but we put it on a secondary, how do you say, like on the back burner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like we keep going and going because, like you said, we can multitask and we can,
Yeah.
but it's like, how is that serving you? And that's when that timeout comes in, right?
Right.
That like pause,
Mhm.
reflect, and breathe. So for me, while I was pregnant, because like I said, life is life, and so my hormones have more control over me. So some days it wasn't control. Like I'm not gonna like, sit here and lie. That's why I said I keep it real. I give you tangible things and tools because it is what it is. You just gotta sit in it.
Yeah.
Just let it be. Recognize all the emotions, be aware and do what you can. So nature was my friend. I would go for walks, even though I was like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
It's so hot in summer. Yeah,
Yeah.
hot mess, but it's okay. So you do the things because I can speak from my experience, but each woman is different, right? That was it for me. We have 2 dogs. I would spend time with them, obviously with my husband, with my mom, with family. But nature was the big thing, and music. Music is life for me, just any music, because it just shifts my whole being, my energy. Sometimes some songs make me cry because hormones, right? Like for no reason, like no
Yeah.
reason. I have no attachment to the song. Like I said, hormones. But you know what? Let it out because your body's signaling you something needs to come out. Like you need to cry it out, cry it out. So that's like, if you're asking me what my experience was or what I would share with you or the audience about that, just let it be, right? And let go of that control, because I know we're high achieving. I know we want to have everything intact. And you mentioned perfection earlier. There's no such thing, we know.
Yeah.
So the more you recognize, I would just invite everyone to ask yourself, whatever is happening, is this serving my end result or no? It's a simple question, yes or no. So whatever is going through your mind, whether it's overthinking, comparing, emotions,
Mhm.
whatever you're experiencing, and you're like, I don't like this, I need to do this, but I'm not focused. And then you're getting in your head, just be like, is this emotion, is this thought of not achieving, of worrying about uncertain, is this serving me? Yes or no? Most of the times it's going to be a no. And that's when you check yourself. It's a quick shift. If you want a quick shift exercise, it's that question. Is this serving me, my end result? Yes or no? So for example, If I was in my head overthinking about my business, how it's going to go down, I'm worrying. So I'm actually stressing out my body and therefore my child, right? So is that serving me? No, it's not. So then what do? I shift. I go for a walk. I listen to a song. I start cooking a meal, like anything that's going to take my mind off of whatever was in my mind. And that's a quick shift that I've done. But sometimes life is just life and just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be one day of that. You move forward. So I always say, as long as you're not consumed by it for days, you're fine. Just be aware, especially when you're pregnant, you can't be too hard on yourself. Be gentle. Everyone's gonna give you a left, right, and all over the place advice. I was like, okay, thank you, thank you. I didn't read any books. Like everyone's different, but I just know that through every friend that I had that had a baby, we're all different. So no book is gonna tell me how my experience is gonna go. It's just, again, I know I keep going back to the mindset. It's really self-regulation. That's the only power you have, because nobody from outside can impact my inside. Go in there and be like, hey, don't overthink, don't do this. You can do it. So the quickest exercise that I can give that I feel is powerful in any situation, not just when you're pregnant, when you're finding you're not focusing or your results are not where you want them to be just yet, you know, you're not achieving your results fast enough or they're not desired, just be like, okay, is this, and then what do I need to do if they're not, right? And that really just kicks you out of the overthinking into like more, let's do the needle moving activity and get back on track.
It's just the small things, but it's something so simple that we can do at any moment, at any time, no matter where you're at in life, like even outside of motherhood in general, but being able to just ask yourself those questions and reshift the mindset, reframe it, and take yourself out of that situation. Because I think you said it beautifully, but it's really giving yourself permission to feel what you're feeling, but not getting stuck there. Because I think it's important to allow yourself to feel, but not stay there. And I think that's just part of our process and how entrepreneurship, it's a roller coaster. It's some days are great, some are not. Then you add in the mix of hormones and other things going on. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different, but every single person's different. How we handle things are different. But asking powerful questions of just really asking yourself that and what that experience is like for you, because absolutely everyone is going to be different. How we internalize things are different, just the psychology behind it, everything like that. We could go down a rabbit hole. I think we could have a whole conversation on that. But I'm really curious because you've achieved so much is still changing right now in your world. But what are your future aspirations and goals for the next year or so?
My future, I'm like, to blow up the planet.
Blow up my everywhere.
Well, really, it's just again on my own terms, like as the business is growing, right? Just hiring a bigger team, that's my goal. Again, systems and things like that. And then really maybe possibly having like speaking engagements and things like that, get more into that, like in-person events, because I've really done more virtual since COVID and since I had my baby. So I haven't really done any live in-person events other than one for like Mother's Day this year, but it was me attending it, right? But me actually speaking and things like that and being on stage is just impacting more women worldwide. That's really the big mission, to grow this worldwide, to be a known brand globally and expand it, and, you know, serve all my beautiful limitless tigresses that I refer to, each woman because of our unique stripes, right? So that's really the big goal. And I'm obviously still living life on my own terms. That's the best, your own definition of limitless. So that's
I love it. And I think that's the important part, right? Like living life on our terms. And I feel like there's just that sense of empowerment and feeling limitless when we are able to allow ourselves. And it goes back to everything we've talked about today, the mindset, how we really shift that, how we look at that. And you are so good at helping your clients shift that mindset into, okay, what can I do? What can I shift? They're already achieving a lot, but making it more seamless and more, not as heavy, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. You got it.
Well, I've been so enjoying this conversation, Lydia. It's always such a pleasure to have you. But before I let you go, where can people find you, find your services? We're going to link everything below, but if you could let us know.
Sure. I'm the most active on Instagram if we're talking about social media. So Limitless with Lydia, or my website, limitlesswithlydia.com. I have Facebook and LinkedIn as well, but like I said, I prefer my Instagram. That's one of the most active. I have my YouTube channel. So when I do my lives, because I know not everyone has Instagram, right? So when I do my weekly mini potent trainings, because I like to keep it simple, as you know, so simplicity is key and really tangible tools that you can apply and get to work and achieve results almost instantly, right? That's the key. So really Instagram and limitlesswithlydia.com, my website.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Lydia, for coming back. I'm so excited for what's to come for you, everything you've already achieved, but just really, it was a good reminder for me as well. Just stay present, but focus on the actions day in, day out, and not get so in our heads about things.
And thank you for having me, and I can't wait to meet your baby girl.
I can't wait for you to meet her too. And make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What was the biggest takeaway from Lydia today? I'm sure she would love to hear and see that comment, and we will see you on the next episode.